Hey guys, Ricky here from Most Valuable Podcast, here to give you our final one. This is the last one of the year, the last time you get to see my beautiful mug talk about college football playoff rankings this year. Me and Brandon's last top 25 of the season, and it's a doozy. We're going to start at the bottom. I'm going to get right into it because you guys know how it works at this point. 25 through 21. No ties in the last 25. This is how the team stacked up. You're not even going to see what they were last week because the last couple of weeks we've been giving you just the top 10. Here's 25 through 21. 25, the Texas Longhorns. 24, the USC Trojans. 23, the Utah Utes. 22, the Baylor Bears. And at 21, the Navy Midshipmen. And Texas making it into the rankings, I'll be honest, Brandon voted them in. Brandon put them high enough so that they actually got into our rankings. Then the Trojans. Trojans they lost to a better team in Stanford in the Pac-12 title game. Utah, the team that was all the way up at the rankings beginning of the season. Baylor, how are they ranked higher than Texas? Oh, yeah, that's right. They have a better record than Texas. And then Navy, just a few wins shy of being one of the best group of five champions and getting the bowl game. But let's move on. 20 through 16. At 20, the Temple Owls. 19, the LSU Tigers. 18, the Oregon Ducks. 17, the Ole Miss Rebels. Almost said Running Rebels, but that's UNLV. And then Florida at 16. The biggest discrepancy here, Florida and Ole Miss. Where do you put them? Who had the better season? The way I put it is, yes, Ole Miss beat. I feel like the committee put Ole Miss ahead of Florida because Ole Miss beat Alabama, Florida did not. However, Florida was the SEC East champ. So that's why me personally, I had Florida ranked higher than the Rebels. Then you had Oregon. This was a year where was Vernon Adams going to be the guy to lead them back to the playoff? Had a successful season, but not like the Ducks were hoping. Then LSU. They were doing so well. Running back who looked like he was going to win the Heisman, he falls off the face of the earth. This team falls off the face of the earth. Almost fires their head coach. Les, you should still leave. Don't put up with that garbage in LSU. Them talking to Jimbo Fisher, and then when Jimbo Fisher saying no, saying, oh, well, we're going to stick with Les. You deserve better, Les. You do. Rant over. And then Temple, really good season for a group of five team in the American Conference. Then let's move on. 15 through 11. And number 15, the Michigan Wolverines. Number 14, the Oklahoma State Cowboys. 13, the Northwestern Wildcats. 12, the TCU Horned Frogs. And at number 11, the Houston Cougars. And the Cougars, I'm going to start there. Under first-year head coach Tom Herman, coming over from the defending national champions. And we're going to get a new one because they're not in the playoff. Ohio State Buckeyes comes in, gets this team to a bowl game, a New Year's Six bowl game in year one at Houston. Another first-year coach at 15, Jim Harbaugh, getting that Michigan team. Man, did this team look totally different under Jim Harbaugh compared to Brady Hoke. And then Oklahoma State, this close to winning the Big 12. Northwestern, a better season than they had last year. And TCU just hanging on in there. They're ranked higher in the rankings, but Oklahoma State, the true number 2 in the Big 12. Then we've got 10 through 7, because you know the deal. We got the last 2 in and then the 4 playoff teams. 10 through 7. And number 10, Florida State. Number 9, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. At number 8, the Ohio State Buckeyes. And at number 7, the North Carolina Tar Heels. And let me level with you guys here. The thing about Ohio State and North Carolina, yes, North Carolina has 2 losses. Ohio State has 1. Here's the reason why I had the Tar Heels ranked higher. They got screwed. They got screwed by the refs. Am I saying they should have won that game? No. I'm saying they got their chance to give us one of the closest losses of the season for them. They got that stolen away. The chance to win the game. To me, I have the Tar Heels just higher than the Buckeyes. However, I will admit, you could make the case that the Buckeyes should be ahead of the Tar Heels in the final rankings. Then Notre Dame, really this many points. As many teams as we have in the playoffs, that's as many points as Notre Dame, is out of the playoffs. But they fall to number 9 in our final rankings. Then Florida State, clearly not the same team without Jameis Winston. And a lot of you are probably saying, duh. Then we got the final 2. Who would be our first one sitting at home? The Pac-12 champion, our Pac-12 champion, the Stanford Cardinal. Then at number 5, the almost there, 1 win shy, the Iowa Hawkeyes. Some would say used a fake ID this year. I don't agree with those people, but Stanford being a 2-loss team really shocked me because I thought that Oregon was going to at least win the Pac-12 at the beginning of the season. Stanford, I thought, would be the team to lose to them in the Pac-12 title game. I even thought that the Trojans would get here, and they did. And I thought they would lose to the Cardinal would lose to the Trojans. The Trojans would win the national championship. That's what I said in our final prediction podcast. Iowa, I didn't even think they'd be anywhere near the top 5. So just 2 teams that overplayed my just aspirations for them this season, but they don't matter. Let's get them out of here. It all comes down to 4. And these are the top 4 for the MVP. And let's get right into it. Number 4, the Michigan State Spartans. Number 3, and this may shock people, the Clemson Tigers. Number 2, the Oklahoma City, not Oklahoma City, they're not the Thunder, but the Oklahoma Sooners, Boomer Sooner. And then number 1, Roll Tide, baby, the Alabama Crimson Tide. And this is going to shock some people because Clemson's undefeated. And at 3, however, they didn't look that decisive against the Tar Heels. I know what you're saying. Yeah, but Ricky, they won. They're undefeated. I honestly had Clemson 2. Had Oklahoma 3. Brandon had Oklahoma 2. Clemson 3. We had a long discussion, and in the end of it, we both agree the Tar Heels did get screwed. Clemson didn't have that decisive of a win. So for these rankings, Clemson is the 3rd team in these rankings. Alabama, a clear better team than the Tigers. And how would this play out in the semifinals? Who would play who? What would the New Year's 6 be? Well, let me tell you what those New Year's 6 would be. Yeah, I moved over a little bit. Well, I'm adding a special part to this video. This is where, because this is the final one, the last hoorah, I'm going to give you what our New Year's 6 would be with our final rankings. And we'll start with the playoffs. We'll give you guys what you want. Our first semifinal game, the Orange Bowl, would be Michigan State number 4, Alabama number 1. The exact semifinal that we get for the college football playoff. The only difference is it's the Orange Bowl, not the Cotton Bowl. Then the Cotton Bowl would be number 3 Clemson and number 2 Oklahoma. Same matchup, different site and different rankings here. However, it's a neutral site, so it doesn't matter who's ranked higher and lower, right? And I'm going to put in a little discrepancy here. Usually the rule is Bama because they're number 1, they get first pick, and usually they pick the closest one geographically, which by 10 miles, I figured out, TIL, by 10 miles, the Cotton Bowl is closer to Montgomery than the Orange Bowl. However, I think as the committee, me and Brandon talked about it, there's no way I would want to give Oklahoma, who is ranked higher, a disadvantage by traveling to Florida when Clemson is just right down the coast. So because of that, Alabama, who Michigan State is way further away from the Orange Bowl than Alabama. Those two teams go to the Orange Bowl. Clemson and Oklahoma go to the Cotton Bowl. So Oklahoma, being the better ranked team, is geographically closer to that site. Then we've got the other four. The Rose Bowl, same as it is in real life. You get the Pac-12 champion, Stanford, going up against the Big Ten, not the champion because he's in the playoffs, the next best Big Ten team, the Iowa Hawkeyes. Then the Sugar Bowl. This is where we have a little bit of a difference. Number 14, Oklahoma State. This is because the Big 12 champion is in the playoffs, so the next best team is Oklahoma State. And the Sugar Bowl then takes the highest ranked SEC team. Because Alabama's in the playoff, the next one up, we've got Florida. So in ours, it's Oklahoma State, the Cowboys and the Gators in the Sugar Bowl. Then the last two, the at-large teams, we've got the Fiesta Bowl. It's not Notre Dame, Ohio State for us. It's number 7, North Carolina, going up against number 8, Ohio State. And then the Peach Bowl, the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, number 11, Houston. The Group of 5 champion that is ranked the highest would go up against the remaining best ranked team for us. That's number 9, Notre Dame. So just to read through them one more time, playoffs are the same as they are here. Oklahoma, Clemson, Michigan State, Bama, Rose Bowl, Stanford, Iowa. The Sugar Bowl's Oklahoma State, Florida. Fiesta Bowl, North Carolina, Ohio State. And the Peach Bowl is Houston and ND. But that's going to do it for our rankings this week. Go ahead, let me know down below. This one's twofold. First, who is ranked too high, who is ranked too low? The second one is, what do you think of our New Year's 6 bowls? If these were the matchups in real life, what would you think of them? Who would win? Let me know. There's a little bit of differences, especially with those last three. I know the playoff and the Rose Bowl are not that different. However, the last three were different. So let me know what you think. Also, go ahead and hit me up on Twitter too. My Twitter's right up there. I love answering your guys' tweets and quoting them and retweeting them and liking them and all that stuff. Hey, maybe if you follow me, I'll follow you back. Last thing I got to tell you, we have a quest for 500 going on right now. This is where you guys, if you haven't subscribed yet, you got to hit the sub button right up there. If we get to 500 subs by the end of the year, we're going to be giving away a signed sports game of the winner's choice. However, to win it, you got to hit the sub button, comment down below. We also have some milestones on the way. Check out our newest video on the latest milestone that we just hit today. Make sure you check out all that good stuff. Comment down below. But as always, have a good day, everybody.